Part 33. I Can Break the Dimensional Wall. Author, Zhozhezi Jumiao. Chapter 322. The puppy Warcraft was instantly killed by Xiaoruo before it transformed. The speed was so fast that the surrounding Warcrafts didn't react. When the puppy Warcraft really turned into a corpse and no one commanded it, those Warcrafts scattered in all directions. Escape. Soon, there was no more monster here except the corpse of the puppy monster. Huh. Xiaoruo breathed a sigh of relief, because she had been carrying Ram on her back, and her back was in contact with Ram, so Xiaoruo felt the tension in Ram's body, which made Xiaoruo feel the tense atmosphere, so she directly used her full strength. Xiaoruo's sword is definitely the most perfect sword. It has concentrated almost all the skills he has learned, and his momentum, swordsmanship, and physical use are all at the peak. Xiaoruo didn't expect to be able to make such an amazing sword with Ram behind her back. After all, this is not a game world, and I don't have all sensitive attributes. It's pretty good to be able to do this. Xiaoruo may not be able to enter the state every time. What's the matter, has Ram's curse been lifted now? Xiaoruo asked Ram behind her, because Ram and Ram have the same feeling, so if Ram's curse disappears, she must know. Well, I can feel that Ram's body is recovering rapidly. A smile appeared on Ram's face, and her ugly expression returned to normal. Through empathy, she finally felt relieved knowing that Ram was safe. That's good, Xiaoruo untied the rope that fixed her on her back and let Ram down. Ah! Feeling relaxed, Ram lay on the ground. She was exhausted and was carried by Xiaoruo for so long. She was indeed too tired. Now that her nerves relaxed, her body immediately sat on the ground limply. Thank you very much this time, Xiaoruo. If it wasn't for you, something might really happen to Ram. Ram thanked Xiaoruo. She naturally knew that it was entirely thanks to Xiaoruo that she was able to save her sister this time. Without Xiaoruo, not only lame you, she might die here too. Ram is more important than my life. You saved Ram, which is equivalent to saving my life. This kindness, Ram will definitely remember it in his heart. Ram is also a person who knows how to repay his kindness. After receiving such a great kindness from Xiaoruo, naturally he will not completely ignore it. It's not necessary, I just don't want Ram to die, Xiaoruo said indifferently. Huh? Why, I thought you hated Ram. Ram looked at Xiaoruo curiously. Xiaoruo tried her best to help herself along the way. She could naturally feel that Xiaoruo was not lying. Why do I hate Ram? Xiaoruo was puzzled. Because you don't talk to Ram very often, and Ram is also hostile to you. As an older sister, Ram naturally sees everything about her sister. Xiaoruo scratched her face with her fingers. You said this, Ram did have some misunderstandings about me, but the misunderstandings were only temporary. How could I hate that child because Ram was hostile to me, but that kid was just cold to me. That child, Ram, is always easy to get into a corner. Ram also thought of his younger sister, who usually looks very stable, but sometimes is very stupid. Regarding this, Ram also has a headache. However, Xiaoruo, you are such a strange person. Ram looked at Xiaoruo with a charming smile on his face. The way you acted behind my back just now is really handsome, especially the last sword is more attractive than the knights of the capital. Really? Is Miss Ram fascinated by me? Xiaoruo asked Ram with a smile. A little bit, it's still there. Ram clasped his index finger and thumb together, and gestured for a very small distance. It's only a little bit, it looks like I still need to work harder, Xiaoruo responded with a smile. It would be great if you could work hard on your attire first. Your clothes are very similar to Bruce. I don't know that your clothes are so strange. If you wear the white knight clothes of the kingdom, maybe that's the case. It will be more handsome. Lam analyzed Xiaoruo's clothes. If you need, I can prepare a set for you. Your costume is too strange. Okay, Syaruo nodded. After resting for a while, Ram sat on the ground and stretched out his hand to Syaruo. Pull me up, knight. Obey, my lord princess. Syaruo stood in front of Ram and pulled Ram up. However, Ram seemed to have not fully recovered his physical strength, and he didn't have much strength under his feet. When Syaruo pulled him up, he tripped over a small stone. Ah! When Ram got up, he was unsteady and fell into Syaruo's arms. However, Syaruo stood in front of Ram and pulled her, so now it seemed that Ram fell into Syaruo's arms on his own initiative. The atmosphere suddenly fell into a strange silence, and there seemed to be some ambiguous atmosphere mixed in it. Syaruo can clearly feel how soft and gentle Lamu's petite body is. She didn't care much when she was carrying it just now, but looking at it now, Lamu's body is really too small, just like a junior high school student. My lord princess, do you need me to take you home? Syaruo whispered to Ram. With a swipe, Ram's face turned red. No, I can go by myself. Ram left Syaruo's arms in a panic, and walked towards the village alone. Syaruo also hurriedly followed, but when leaving the forest, Syaruo glanced in a certain direction. In that direction just now, Syaruo felt someone's breath. Is it Mary? That is Elsa's companion, but after Syaruo thought about it, she still didn't catch up to see it. This incident was almost perfectly resolved. Lord Roswal. After returning to the village, Ram saw Roswal who was coming, and immediately ran over with surprise on his face. Lord Roswal, why are you here? After I went back, Lady Emilia immediately drove me over, so I came to help, but it seems that you did a good job, Ram. Roswal praised Ram, and gently patted Ram's head by the way. No, Syaruo has been working hard, Mr. Roswal, is Ram's health okay? Ram confirmed to Roswal. Ram has recovered and is resting in the mansion now. You have handled the matter very well this time, and you, Syaruo, have also done a good job. Roswal looked at Syaruo who was on the side. For Roswal, Syaruo just nodded slightly, hummed, and didn't say much. He didn't like Roswal, so his attitude was a little cold. Seeing Syaruo's attitude at this time, Ram frowned, as if he was unhappy because Syaruo was rude to Roswal. However, Ram didn't reprimand Syaruo for anything. Soon, Roswal brought Syaruo and Ram back to the mansion, but Syaruo found that Ram looked at Roswal with a different look in her eyes, with a hint of admiration and dependence in her eyes. No, it's something deeper, it's the eyes of love. It turns out, Ram likes Roswal. I can break the dimensional wall. Author, Zhou Jumiao. Chapter 323. In the mansion, Ram was lying on her bed. Although the curse was lifted, her body was still a little weak at this time. Master Betty, when will my sister come back? Lying on the bed, Ram asked Betty worriedly. Although she had the ability to empathize, Ram was still worried about her sister before Ram came back. Don't worry, they should be back soon. That guy Syaruo is stronger than you imagined. With him around, your sister shouldn't be hurt. Betty replied with her arms folded that she had fought Syaruo before, so she knew Syaruo's strength. That's it? Ram lowered her head, not knowing what she was thinking at this moment. Betty looked at Ram, who was pale now, and sighed. Ram, I know you are suspicious of Syaruo, but elves can perceive the good, evil and hostility of human beings, so Syaruo is not as suspicious as you think, and my brother, Parker, should think the same way. This time, it is also thanks to him thinking of a way in time that you can survive. Ram hummed lightly and lowered her head. Her expression was a bit complicated. Although she had always suspected that there was something wrong with Syaruo, this time, he was indeed the one who saved her, and if it wasn't for her, her sister might also be in danger. Is he, is he a bad guy? Rem was also a little puzzled about this. If he is really suspicious, then why do so many people believe in him so much, Lord Emilia, Lord Roswal, sister, Lord Betty? Rem felt more and more that she had misunderstood him before. After all, I also regarded a person as a bad person only by taste. Such behavior is indeed somewhat groundless. Rem suddenly remembered that she had said a lot of exaggerated things to him. Thinking of this, Rem felt a little bit of self-blame in her heart. In the original work, Rem blamed herself very easily. Her sister's horn was broken, because she had the idea of finally broken and blamed herself for a long time. She felt guilty towards her sister because she could save Natsuki Subaru, but because of the smell he couldn't be saved, so he blamed himself so much that he went to look for the monster alone without fear of danger. Maybe, after Syaruo comes back, I should apologize to him. Rem suddenly thought of this. What neither Rem nor Betty knew was that outside the room they were in, Elsa was standing in the doorway with a sharp machete. The revealing black dress and the sharp scimitar in her hand all showed that her visitor at this time was not kind. Should I kill them? Elsa's expression seemed a little tangled, and she murmured in a low voice. The blue-haired maid squatted at Syaruo's door for several days. If she hadn't been interfering, she would have been able to sleep in a big bed at night. And Elsa's eyes narrowed. Naturally, she would not forget that Rem's hostility towards Syaruo had to be cleaned up of such dangerous seeds. For Elsa, even if there are elves protecting Rem, it is not difficult for her to kill her. At this moment, Natsuki Subaru came from the other side of the corridor. After noticing someone coming, Elsa immediately disappeared in place and got into a room next to her. Natsuki Subaru didn't see her, but walked into Rem's room with a plate of fruit. After Natsuki Subaru went in, Elsa reappeared at the same place, tangled for a moment. Elsa shook her head. Forget it, that little blue maid. If I kill him, maybe that guy will be angry. Although his murderous aura is very good, he is unexpectedly a simple person. In the end, Elsa gave up on Rem and got out of the window. Only a few hours later, Syaruo and Rem returned to the mansion. As soon as Rem returned to the mansion, he immediately went to visit his sister, and seeing that Rem was fine, Rem was relieved. Syaruo was at the side, quietly watching the scene where the two sisters met. It's thanks to you again, Syaruo, Nadio Subaru said after touching Syaruo's arm. If it wasn't for you, Rem would be in danger. During the few days of working in the mansion, Subaru Natsuki also developed feelings for the two sisters Rem, so Subaru Natsuki was also very happy to see that they were fine. Syaruo smiled, and didn't answer Nadio Subaru. In fact, Nadio Subaru could do what Syaruo was doing at this time, but at most he died a few times. It can only be said that I replaced Natsuki Subaru to complete the stage of the plot. Syaruo. Rem didn't know what to say to Rem, and then called Syaruo. Come here, Rem has something to tell you. What did you tell me? Syaruo walked to Rem's bedside. Rem was lying on the bed at this time. Her face was a little pale, and she felt a little more weak. The way she looked at Syaruo now was no longer hostile. Syaruo, thank you, Rem thanked Syaruo with her head bowed. Her tone became much gentler. Rem herself is a very gentle girl, otherwise she would not be the wife of all people. Of course, only after she accepts you can she enjoy this kind of tenderness. If she does not accept you, she can only see Rem's cold side. Syaruo smiled at Rem. There is not so much thanks, Rem, as long as you can take care of your body and continue to recover, it will be fine. I also need you to wake me up every morning. Well, Rem will. When Syaruo said this, Rem also laughed. Rem and Syaruo finally resolved the misunderstanding. After Rem recovered from her injuries, the mansion resumed its daily life. Nadio Subaru chatted with Emilia all day long, and then cleaned up. Syaruo just relaxed, practiced swordsmanship, and learned healing magic with Parker. According to what Parker said, human beings have more or less magic power and various magical attributes, but Parker said that it cannot identify Sioruo's attributes, but the healing magic it teaches is still very easy for Sioruo. It took thousands of prestige to learn it. The healing magic of the other world is really strong. As long as it is not a sudden death on the spot, ordinary injuries, such as the stomach being cut open, have a high probability of being saved, and the recovery is very fast. Another day, Naosuburu was cleaning next to Sioruo, while Sioruo was drinking tea in a chair with peace of mind. "You are so leisurely, can you sweep it for me?" Naosuburu looked at Sioruo's leisurely appearance, and shouted helplessly. "Hush, please don't disturb my leisurely afternoon tea," Sioruo said after taking a sip of tea, without any intention of helping. "Good tea. If you don't want to help, get out of here, don't relax in the place I clean. I always feel like you're showing off." Natsuki Suburu wailed, covering his head. Ram checked the environment that Natsuki Suburu had cleaned with a serious face. She rubbed her index finger on the coffee table and looked at the dust on her finger. "There is still so much dust, it is really useless to wipe it again for me." "Ah, Bruce. Ram's venomous tongue is as powerful as ever. Ah. Even if I forced you to wake up, don't hold grudges like this. Ah. Unfortunately." Naoki Suburu wailed again, hugging his head. "Bruce, I'm packing the things in the garden now. When I come back, I hope there will be no more dust on the furniture," Ram said, leaving the room. Sioruo took a sip of tea, and then looked at the books on his desk. According to him, he is not doing nothing, he is just learning the language of this country, although he has already learned it by using his reputation. "Rem, tell me the story, I don't understand some things," Sioruo said to a fairy tale in the book. "Well, okay, let me tell you." Rem nodded and put down the work in hand. "This is the story of the red ghost and the blue ghost." However, Rem suddenly sniffed lightly, as if smelling something, and then set his eyes on Sioruo's teacup. "Sioruo, what you drink is tea, what's the matter?" "It's delicious," Sioruo said after taking a sip. "That's," Rem's mouth twitched, "it's the most expensive tea in the mansion. If you drink it, my sister will be angry." "Shh. Sioruo made a hush and looked at Lemu with a smile. "If you don't tell me, she won't know. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I can break the dimensional wall." Author, Zhou Jumiao. Chapter 324. After Lemu finished telling the story to Sioruo, it soon became dark, and Sioruo was about to rest, so she returned to her room. Ding! The second stage of the mission is completed, and the rewards are being distributed. A system voice suddenly came from Sioruo's mind, which indicated that he had already passed the second stage of the mission, that is, Naosubaru's second loading point. This time, Sioruo evaded Naosubaru's several death file readings, which was considered a good completion of the system's mission. According to the system, Naosubaru did not die even once, which is also better than the protection given by the system. It will be good. Reward, the blessing of charm. Protection of charm, the improvement of the charm attribute increases the favorability of others towards you. After seeing the reward, Sioruo was stunned for a moment before realizing it. Good stuff. Sioruo likes this charm protection more than the protection of combat power improvement. Sioruo hurriedly found the mirror and looked at it, and found that her appearance hadn't changed much, but it seemed to be different from before. Become handsome. It seems that he has become a little handsomer, although the whole has not changed much. It is not like changing his face like plastic surgery. However, the details of the face seem to have been optimized. He was handsome before, but now he is even more handsome. It is a bit like the elves that Syaruo saw. If you use the two-dimensional image, Syaruo feels that she is almost the same as Reinhardt is almost handsome. Moreover, it seems that it is easier to get close to people, and I don't know if it is the influence of the charm attribute. Looking at herself in the mirror, Syaruo is a little fascinated. Who doesn't want to look better? The improvement of charm makes Syaruo feel better. With this reward alone, coming to this different world is totally worth it. Syaruo. At this moment, Ram opened the door and walked in, holding a white dress in his hands. The night uniform you said you wanted was delivered just now. Your clothes are indeed a bit too strange, and it is easy to attract attention when you arrive in the capital. It just so happens that Lord Roswal is going to find a kingdom for you to confer knighthood on you, so you can wear this without any problem. You can try it on if it fits. If it doesn't fit, you can ask Ram to change it for you. Syaruo turned to look at Ram, then walked in front of her, and took the night uniform. Should I change it now? Well, let's change it here. Although it is a good size, let me take a look and see if it fits well, Ram said, frowning suddenly, and she tilted her head to look at Syaruo. I always feel that the current Syaruo is a little different from what I just saw. Okay, you go out first. Syaruo closed the door. In her room, she took a look at the night uniform in her hand. This night uniform was considered the most handsome costume in this different world. Syaruo changed the night outfit into it. Since she had measured her figure before, there was nothing wrong with the night outfit. Is it changed? Ram, who was outside, was a little impatient. Awaited. Syaruo opened the door of her room. Let me see. Hey, it fits well. Ram was a little surprised. I don't know why. The white night uniform suits Syaruo unexpectedly, and the window was not closed, and the wind blew through the window, and the hem of Syaruo's night uniform also trembled. Syaruo has regular facial features, black hair and black pupils, and the tailored white night suit shows his slender figure. With his long sword on his waist and his upright posture, he shows a special temperament. It's like being a real knight. Ram was stunned unexpectedly. How is it? Does it fit? Syaruo asked Ram. Well, it fits nicely. After Ram woke up, she immediately looked away in a panic. At that moment, she felt her heart beat a little faster. Does this guy look so good looking? Such a thought suddenly appeared in Ram's mind. Thinking of this, Ram's ears felt a little hot. Ram remembered that he once met Reinhardt, a man named Juggernaut, a knight among knights, and that man also had an outstanding appearance, but he didn't have such a reaction at the time. I also think it fits well. How does it look? Syaruo asked Ram. It was the first time he wore this kind of night attire. Very good, you can wear this from now on. Ram turned his head after taking a look, and then praised. Okay. Syaruo also thought the outfit was good, and he was very satisfied after looking in the mirror. He suddenly thought of something. Go to 486 to show off. My knight uniform is much more handsome than his butler uniform. Ram looked at Syaruo with some amusement. It's really like a child. Syaruo didn't care about what Ram said, and went directly to the next door, and pushed open the door of Nadio Sabaru's room. But after Syaruo entered Nadio Sabaru's room, she saw an extremely impactful scene. Amelia was sitting on Natsuki Sabaru's bed, and Natsuki Subaru rested his head on Amelia's lap. The sound of even breathing came from Natsuki Subaru, as if he had fallen asleep. Up. The corners of Syaruo's mouth twitched. He didn't expect that when he entered the door, he saw such an impactful scene as a knee pillow. Has Nadio Subaru progressed to this level? After Amelia saw Syaruo coming in, she made a booing gesture at Syaruo. She was telling Syaruo not to wake up Nadio Subaru. 486 has been tired all day and is resting. Don't disturb him. Amelia quietly put Naoki Subaru on his knees, and gently stroked his hair. At this time, Emilia was extremely cute, like an angel. Angel. Syoruo was a little speechless. Emilia deserved to be the heroine. She came here to show off to Naosuboru, but unexpectedly she was hit hard. Syoruo had no choice but to back out. Knee pillow, are you envious? Ram was behind Syoruo, covering his mouth and snickering, as if he was very happy that Syoruo was hit. It's so pitiful, Syoruo, who wants to show off, but finds that Bruce has better treatment. That's lap, Lady Emilia's lap. How about it, do you need Lam to give you a knee pillow to comfort your shattered heart? Lam asked Syoruo. Okay, Syoruo agreed directly. Ram didn't expect Syoruo to agree directly, and the result of molesting her didn't come true. She lowered her head and looked at her knees, then raised her head suddenly, and stared at Syoruo with wide eyes. Humph, it really is a man who can't stand the test. Ram snorted coldly at Syoruo, and ran away quickly. Syoruo. When Syoruo was about to go back to the room, she saw Ram beside her. It seemed that Ram had been here all along, and Syoruo hadn't noticed her just now. Ram, why are you here? After accepting Syoruo and having the grace of saving her life, Ram is now the most gentle girl in the whole mansion to Syoruo. Usually Syoruo asks Ram to tell her a story, and Ram will make a fuss about it. A face, but Ram is always gentle. Ram looked at Syoruo curiously, and blinked her big eyes. She also seemed to notice that Syoruo was a little different from the daytime, and she was indeed much handsomer in the night uniform. Syoruo, don't be angry with my sister. If you are tired from studying and really need a knee pillow to rest, Ram can help you. Ram's tone was as gentle as ever. Well, learning is nothing more than letting you tell stories. Why am I tired? It may be that Ram is too innocent. Syoruo is embarrassed to ask Ram for a knee pillow when she is stared at by Ram's innocent eyes. Next time. After that, Syoruo fled back to her room. Ram. The next day, Syoruo was going to leave this world temporarily. Because the next plot came soon in the animation, but Syoruo stayed there for a few days, but did not trigger the plot of the king's capital at all. In fact, it's just that the animation is fast-forwarded. Therefore, Syoruo found an opportunity and asked Roswaal to leave. P.S. A small episode. Ram, you can find Ram's lap pillow. Syoruo pondered, always felt that this maid looked familiar. Syoruo, may I ask you? Ram was shocked, I'm Ram, Ram. Syoruo, oh, Ram, I remembered. Ram, the knee pillow. Syoruo, no. Ram was startled, why? Syoruo, I will always like Emilia. I can break the dimensional wall. Author, Zhou Jumiao. Chapter 325. The next morning, Syoruo was about to leave Roswaal's mansion. Syoruo, are you leaving? Emilia looked at Syoruo, who was about to leave, in surprise. She just knew about Syoruo's departure just now. Well, it's been a while since I came here, and I have to go back to deal with some things, Syoruo explained to Emilia, but I shouldn't be back soon. That's it, Emilia nodded, expressing her understanding, but she looked at Tsuburu Natsuki with some confusion. Then 486? No, he will continue to stay here. Syoruo did not take Naosuboru back, because this world is not over yet, and the relationship between Naosuboru and Emilia is progressing smoothly. If there is a chance in the future, Syoruo, if you will take Natsuki Suburu back again. Syoruo patted Keiosuburu on the shoulder, and whispered into Keiosubru's ear, now is not the time for you to go back. I will report to your parents that you are safe. When the time comes, I can take you and Emilia back with me. When Keiosuburu heard what Syoruo said, his eyes lit up, hey, don't forget me. Rest assured. Afterwards, Syoruo walked out of the gate without any luggage. He looked back at the person who came to see him off. The people in the mansion, except Roswal and Betty, have all arrived, but Sioruo seems to have seen Betty's figure from the window of the mansion. Sioruo looked at Ram, and Ram who gave her away again. Everyone got along well these days. Knowing that Sioruo was going to leave, Ram seemed a little depressed, but Ram's expression did not change, as always. Poker face. I'm leaving, next time I come, I'll bring you souvenirs for everyone, Sioruo said, looking at everyone with a smile. Goodbye, Sioruo, Lemu waved to Sioruo, but Ram didn't say anything else. Well, I'm leaving. After all, Sioruo used the wind travel technique to fly against the wind, and disappeared into the distance. Ram looked at Sioruo's disappearing figure, his eyes were half covered by the pink hair, and he didn't know what he was thinking. Let's go. In the mansion, in a certain window, a dark figure looked at Sioruo's leaving figure with a gloomy light in his eyes. It's fine to leave. The witch cult will probably make some moves soon. No one around Emilia can survive. You are leaving now. Sioruo went directly back to the vicinity of Nadio Sabaru's house through the crossing passage, and found Nadio Sabaru's parents, Nadio Kenichi and Nadio Keiko. Sioruo came here to keep them safe and prevent them from worrying too much. After all, he has not forgotten his mission. These days, they were still worried about Nadio Sabaru's safety, and the police had no news, but with Sioruo's assurance, they still didn't give up that glimmer of hope. Mr. Sioruo, how is my son? Caiu Xian asked Sioruo eagerly when he found out that Sioruo had returned. Where's 486? Didn't he come back? Caiu Keiko stared at Sioruo's back, but didn't see her son. A trace of panic flashed in her eyes, for fear that Sioruo would say some bad news. Mr. Natsuki, Mrs. Natsuki, don't worry, Subaru Natsuki is safe, but it's a bit complicated to talk about. Before that, you watch a video first. After watching the video, I will tell you about Natsuki. The situation of you Subaru, Sioruo said, taking out her mobile phone. Really? Natsuki Sien breathed a sigh of relief when he heard that Natsuki Subaru was fine. Sioruo clicked on her smartphone, and then found a video, which was shot by Sioruo at Roswal's mansion, just to reassure Natsuki Subaru's parents. Sioruo played the video. Natsuki Kenichi and Natsuki Nako also approached. In the video, Nadio Subaru appeared, but at this time, Nadio Subaru was not wearing his own clothes, but a housekeeper's outfit. He looked quite good, and even looked more energetic than he was at home. It was much better. Seeing that their son was still alive and his body organs were still complete, Natsuki Kenichi and his wife were relieved. Mom and Dad, I'm fine now, you don't have to worry about me too much. Naoki Subaru yelled at the camera, and also performed the classic action of ponytailing and pointing to the sky. I'm doing well now. I'm in Lugnica Kingdom, and I met a very beautiful girl, Emilia. When Subaru Natsuki said this, the camera changed to a girl with silver hair in a white dress. It was a very beautiful and gentle-looking girl, but just from her appearance, she gave people a natural affection, like an elf. Hey, the shooting star is aimed at me. Emilia's tone in the video was a little flustered. Should I talk at this time? That's right, just introduce yourself to me, dear. Sioruo's voice came from the video, and it seemed that it was Sioruo who was holding the phone. Oh, Emilia straightened her silver hair and clothes, put her hands together, put them on the hem of her clothes, and bowed to the camera. Hi, parents of 486, my name is Emilia, and I'm a friend of 486. Suddenly, a white kitten emerged from the back of Emilia's neck, and it also spoke. Hello, my name is Parker. Parker, don't make trouble. Natsuki Subaru pushed the kitten in the video away. The scene changed to Nadio Subaru again. Dad, Mom, this is Emilia, isn't it super cute? I may stay here for a while, it's safe here. After a while, Syaruo will take me back. In the following video, Natsuki Subaru introduced his environment and the fact that he is safe now, so that his parents should not worry. After about a few minutes, the video ends. After the video ended, Syaruo also told Nadio Subaru's parents about Nadio Subaru's experience during this period, that is, what happened after Nadio Subaru crossed. It's just that those things were a bit too bizarre. When Natsuki Kenichi and Natsuki Nako heard this, their mouths grew wide in surprise. That is to say, my son is not Shinayan, but has traveled to another world. Caiu Xian took a puff of cigarette, with a complicated expression on his face. This is capable, that kid, is much better than me. Although the matter was very bizarre, he still believed it. After all, in the video just now, there was a cat flying in the sky, which did not look like a creature on Earth at first glance. As for why Syaruo was able to find her son, as soon as Caiu Xian knew it, some could ask and some could not. Does 486 like that girl named Emilia? That girl is so pretty, and she also looks kind. Keiko Natsuki was much simpler, focusing on Emilia. Body. Well, Miss Emilia is the candidate for the king of the kingdom of Lugnica, and she may become the king in the future, and I noticed that she really cares about Subaru Natsuki. Syaruo revealed such information a little bit. Caiuna Keiko couldn't help covering her mouth when she heard this, she was so surprised. That is to say, if Emilia becomes king, my son may become a princess in another world. He will be brought into the harem. Syaruo touched his chin, he felt that there was something wrong with Nadio Keiko's way of thinking, but there was nothing wrong with what she said. It is possible. Caiu Xian took a big puff of cigarette, with a complicated expression on his face. My son is promising. I can break the dimensional wall. Author, Zhou Jumiao. Chapter 326. After Keiichi Subaru's parents learned that their son was doing well, they let go of their worries. Although the son has not returned yet, as long as he is safe. Syaruo also promised that she would bring Nadio Subaru back safely in the future, and Nadio Kenichi also accepted the fact that her son had traveled to another world. Speaking of this, Syaruo heard the system prompt again. Ding. Shinayan's youth mission is 50% complete, rewards are being distributed. Ding. Obtain the virtual game, ReZero starting life in another world, part, please check with the host. Syaruo returned to her real world. After returning home, Syaruo had dinner with her family first. After all, she had been away for a long time, and then asked her father about what happened in reality. In reality, today's virtual helmets have become more and more popular, and they have become as popular as household appliances, and holographic technology is also being developed by the government, and all walks of life are following up. I believe it will not be long before the world they will all change. After learning about the recent situation, Syaruo returned to her room to check the rewards she got for completing the task. From the USB flash drive given by the system, Syaruo found a holographic game Life in Another World from Zero that can be implanted into a virtual helmet. According to the system, this is the reward for this mission. Since Syaruo brought the holographic game helmet to the real world, the system seems to have undergone some kind of upgrade. The rewards released are not limited to animations and fan animations, even games have been added. Holographic two-dimensional game. The game from scratch looks very interesting. If the system changes the animation into a Japanese-style gal game type, it will definitely be interesting. ReZero is indeed suitable for making a game. Syaruo has played gal games before, so if this kind of game is replaced with a holographic game, he speculates that it will explode. At least, there are beautiful girls in another world, who are much more attractive than square people. After Syaruo moved the game to her virtual helmet, she put on the helmet, found the game icon on the virtual helmet, and chose to open it. Let me try it first. Is this game fun? By the way, let's see if there are any bugs in the game the system gave me. Syaruo is also very curious about the games made by the system. After opening the game, the first thing that appeared in the game was a bullet frame and a mechanical cold sound. Please enter your name. Enter your name. Syaruo thought for a moment, then said her own name, Syaruo. The name has been confirmed successfully, and the time-traveling journey has officially begun, the cold voice of the machine continued, and immediately after that, 5 large characters appeared in front of Syaruo's eyes. Enter the game. In an instant, Syaruo's vision was plunged into darkness. Boom. Seemingly hearing some strange voice, Syaruo opened her eyes again, and found herself in a convenience store, holding the instant noodles and potato chips that she just bought at the checkout. Syaruo looked at her hand and the owner of the convenience store. Although it is a virtual holographic game, the picture in the game is not a real person, but a 3D animated character, that is, a two-dimensional character, which is only made in details. Very fine, without any sense of disobedience. Compared with real people, 3D animated characters look more beautiful, and there are not too many defects on their faces. As before, playing holographic games is like traveling to the second dimension. The only difference is that the body template at this time is that of Natsuki Subaru. It's not a big problem, just get familiar with your body, and even if you have a disability, you will have a healthy body when you come to this game. This game actually started before Subaru Natsuki crossed over, and the animation was accidentally restored. Syaruo touched her chin. Not only that, Syaruo seemed to hear the voice of confession in her ears. My name is Syaruo. I am a third-year public high school student who refuses to go to school. I didn't have dinner tonight. Now I need to buy some instant noodles to eat. Potato chips can be used as an after-dinner snack. Now that I bought everything, I'm going home now. Bar. It turned out to be like this. Now it seems that as long as I go out, I will travel through another world like this. The corners of Syaruo's mouth curled up slightly, and she slowly walked out of the convenience store with the plastic bag in her hand. Sure enough, just as Syaruo thought, not long after he left, a burst of ripples appeared, and the next moment, the picture in front of him changed up. Syaruo seemed to be teleported to a central street, surrounded by noisy people. Looking around, you could see dog ears and cat ears everywhere, and you could even glimpse mutants who looked like lizardmen. From the convenience store, I traveled directly to another world without any warning. This strange change is almost exactly the same as the animation, the only difference is that I have changed from a bystander to the protagonist. Because it is a holographic game, the immersive experience is very realistic. This is bad. Syaruo didn't pay attention to her inner monologue, but walked around to test the game. The body is completely under your control. He originally thought that this game would be the same as the Japanese Gal game, where the body is controlled, and then he meets characters in the plot and starts to enter the plot, but this game does not exist at all. The body is completely unrestricted. In this way, the degree of freedom of the game is higher, just like in the real world, and it also feels more time traveling. However, the disadvantage is that it is too free and it is not easy to enter the main line. How should the plot develop? Woolen cloth? With a trace of doubt, Syaruo continued to walk around. Although Syaruo had been here before, he was not very familiar with it. He just walked along the street. It didn't take long for Syaruo to feel a little resistance. Huh. Syaruo felt this resistance. There was nothing in front of her, and Syaruo could also see the crowd passing by, but if she walked forward, she seemed to be stuck in a quagmire, as if there was something blocking her eyes. Go by yourself. This is the boundary of the game. It's a bit like a game. Syaruo discovered that this holographic game is not a complete two-dimensional world, but has its own independent boundaries. When it reaches a certain level, it cannot continue, just like a normal game. The range that can be walked is not that big, so that's the reason. There are not many routes to choose, and it is easier to meet the heroine Emilia. Next, Syaruo walked into the alley. Step aside. A familiar voice came. Syaruo saw the yellow-haired Felut running from a distance. Syaruo did not block her, but let her go. Felut looked back at Syaruo. In the game, the two didn't know each other, so Felut looked away and disappeared in front of Syaruo after a few jumps. Not long after, the silver-haired Emilia also ran over. In the game, the image of Emilia in the second dimension is really amazing, not weaker than her real image. Emilia stopped after seeing Syaruo. "Excuse me, have you seen such a tall child running over?" Emilia's voice was exactly the same as what Syaruo heard in the other world before, gentle as water. "I see, she went there." Syaruo pointed to Emilia in the direction where Felt escaped. "Thank you." After Emilia thanked Syaruo, she chased after Felut in the direction she was fleeing, without any intention of staying. Syaruo rubbed her chin. "If I don't do anything, even if I am the protagonist of the game, those plot characters will only treat me as a passerby. This game is really a bit real, but if I really do nothing, what will happen? Open a new different world line?" After that, in order to test this point, Syaruo really did nothing, and found a remote place to lie down. Unlike Gal game, this game has no way to fast forward, so Syaruo just lay there for hours. Nothing happened. Finally, it was dark. Syaruo guessed that according to this point in time, Emilia had probably been poisoned by Elsa at this time. Boom! Like an earthquake, the game world trembled violently, and time seemed to stand still. The next moment, a line of blood appeared in front of Syaruo's eyes. Game over. After these 4 words appeared, Syaruo was directly ejected from the game. There is no option to continue the game on the interface outside the game, that is to say, if Syaruo opens the game again, it will just start over. So, in the game, as long as I do nothing and let Emilia die, my game will end. Sure enough, this game is not a free and open game. I still have to protect Emilia. Follow the main line. The romantic comedy after the development is the most important. Although Syaruo did almost nothing during the first week, he still found the game very interesting. So Syaruo started the second week. In the second week, Syaruo chose to help Emilia, take the main line, search for the main line, and see what the different results will be if you follow the main line. Although Syaruo, who has watched the animation, knows the ending, but the animation and the game are completely two concepts. If you really play it once, you will know it. In the second week, Syaruo meets Emilia again in the alley, and it is very easy to help Emilia walk with her. Emilia is a gentle and kind person, and lacks the support of others. I agree, as long as you have a thicker skin and no hostility, it is not difficult to team up with Emilia. Syaruo got mixed up with Emilia in this way, and after that, Syaruo, like Subaru Natsuki in the original work, took Emilia to find the badge. Along the way, Syaruo and Emilia talked very smoothly. Emilia was hated because of her similar appearance to a witch, so she was very happy to meet someone like Syaruo who didn't care about her identity. On the way, Syaruo and Emilia chatted and laughed, and there was no boring at all in the process of looking for the badge. In the process of searching for the badge, Syaruo found a very obvious problem, which he had never thought about before playing the game. I didn't think about it when I watched the animation, it only exists in the game. Animation is a bystander, and you are the protagonist and participant in the game. Syaruo looked at Emilia beside her. "What's the matter, Syaruo, what do you see on my face? Is there something on my face?" Emilia felt embarrassed by Syaruo's staring, and turned her head shyly. "Stop watching." "Good." Syaruo looked away and continued to think about the question she had just thought about. Emilia in the animation is almost the perfect heroine, gentle and kind, but she is the top kind of beautiful girl, She is still a silver-haired elf, she has almost no shortcomings in her body, she is even more goddess than the ideal goddess. Playing gal game and meeting such a girl, nerds will definitely get excited. What if it is a gal game of a holographic game? Such a two-dimensional girl, you enter the game immersively, become the protagonist, and go on a date with her to find badges, no otaku can resist. Huh. Syaruo suddenly understood the meaning of this game. Pooh. Pooh. Without any suspense, both Syaruo and Emilia were killed by Elsa's knife in Lord Roma's house, and Emilia fell in front of his eyes. Before she died, Syaruo seemed to have seen that Elsa was playing with her intestines. Game over. It's a really good game. After playing for a day, I don't feel like I'm playing a game at all. Even though those people are not real people, they still have a sense of reality. Syaruo took off her virtual helmet, with an unsatisfactory expression on her face. I don't know how many nerds will go crazy for Emilia after this game is released, and send them to death again and again. Syaruo plans to release the game first. Without animation as the answer, it is estimated that countless blood will be indispensable for every customs clearance. However, because Syaruo's mission has not been fully completed, the length of all games is only 2 chapters, the Intestine Hunter chapter and the Warcraft chapter. Then let's start with these 2 chapters. However, although I think this game is good, I don't fully understand what other viewers think. Should I find someone to experience it first? Syaruo suddenly thought of someone. Hu Li is the owner of Mengzhan. He is still in college in Shanghai. His name is Songshan Little Fox. Last time, he was the one who released the video of deciphering Akiyama Mio's phone number. Most of his room are posters of Akiyama Mio. Of course, there are some other animation character posters of Rising Animation. At this time, Hu Li was sending a message to a senior sister, who was the goddess he had been pursuing, but the goddess never accepted or rejected him. Today, plus yesterday, Hu Li has sent more than a dozen messages to the goddess, but the goddess on the opposite side has not replied to any of them, which makes Hu Li a little uncomfortable. Just when Hu Li had given up, the senior over there sent him a message back. "Oh, I've been a little dizzy recently. I forgot to watch VX. I didn't see your message." When Hu Li saw this message, he immediately sat up excitedly. "It's okay, sister, please pay more attention to your body." There was only one word on the other side of the phone. Sister, do you want to eat hot pot tomorrow? I found a delicious restaurant. Forget it, I don't want to go. Forget it, senior, rest early and pay attention to your body. That's it, bye. Hu Li sighed and lay down on the bed. He was embarrassed by the content of the chat just now. It's so difficult to chat with girls. I'm not the type who is good at chatting at all. Well, sure enough, I still like girls in the second dimension. However, people also have to accept reality, and people can't live in fantasy. Hu Li's tone was a little helpless. At this moment, Hu Li's cell phone rang suddenly. It was a private message from Rising Company. Last time, because he was making a video to find Easter eggs, the official asked for his contact information and gave him a prize. Is it Songshan Little Fox? There is a new game here, please review it. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I can break the dimensional wall. Author, Zhou Jumiao. Chapter 327. Try it, new game. Hu Li rubbed his eyes before confirming that he read it correctly. I actually have the qualifications to try it out, wow. Hu Li bounced up from the bed excitedly, and turned around on the spot with his mobile phone, showing his excitement. But he soon fell into doubts. I didn't expect Rise to release a new game. Why is there no news at all? I haven't heard about Rise's new animation recently. Why did the game come out directly? In Huli's view, the rise of the two-dimensional virtual game is generally after the animation, so that fans of the original work can play and increase the sense of substitution. This time there is no animation, so the new game is directly used, and something was different in the past. Is there anything special about the game this time? As a company that develops virtual helmets, the virtual games made by Rise will definitely bring surprises to people. Thinking of this, Huli became excited, and the failure of dating his senior just now was completely forgotten, and he felt a little lucky instead. If the senior sister really agrees, then she has to go out to have hot pot with the girls, so she won't have time to play games. And what kind of hot pot to eat? Isn't it good to stay at home, eat instant noodles and play games? The person on the other side of the phone didn't say much, and didn't reveal any information about the game, but just sent the link of the game. Huli used his virtual helmet to connect to the internet, and then obtain the game sent by the other party. Only then did he finally see the name of the game. ReZero Starting Life in Another World. It looks like a game in another world, starting from scratch. Could it be the type of fighting monsters and upgrading, from level 0 to level 100? Huli frowned. He didn't really like the online game-style upgrade gameplay. Although the growth and upgrade of the game would give people a sense of accomplishment, for an old two-dimensional player like him, that kind of game would be meaningless until the end. Yes, repeated killing monsters will only give people a sense of emptiness. It is better to watch a drama. Moreover, in order to continue to make money, game companies also like to slowly increase the upper limit of the level, from level 100 to level 200, and then there is no upper limit, and finally everyone slowly gets out of the trap. But soon, Huli felt that he was thinking too much. Rising Company would not disappoint every time, and if it was a holographic virtual game, the gameplay of fighting monsters and upgrading could not be the same as traditional online games. Maybe there will be cool magic in the game, much better than MC's Mosaic. Let me enter the game and take a look. Huli couldn't wait to find the game icon in the helmet, and then chose to enter the game. The few seconds of waiting time for entering the game felt a bit long. In the cutscene of the game, Huli saw a very detailed cutscene. In that cutscene, the location seemed to be a very bustling street, and the noise of buying and selling came from the surroundings from time to time, which was a bit different from the world. And in the center of the cutscene, there are two very prominent people. One is a beautiful girl with silver hair. Huli couldn't help but take a few more glances at her stunning appearance. The other is a boy wearing ordinary modern clothes. Get up and dress out of tune with the people around you. At this moment, in the cutscene, the boy in modern clothes rushed up and caught up with the silver-haired girl. Shatilla. With a shout from the boy, the animation ended. Huh. It feels like a plot-oriented game. Are these two protagonists? Such a beautiful heroine. Huli's curiosity was suddenly aroused after watching this short cutscene. It seems that the game is different from what he thought, not like a game of fighting monsters and upgrading, which makes Huli look forward to the game more and more. Please adjust the pain level, the cold mechanical voice suddenly appeared. Because it is a holographic virtual game, and some kind of consciousness immersion technology is used, in the virtual game, pain will also be felt. However, after hearing the pain adjustment, Huli's mouth twitched, and then he clicked into the pain adjustment interface, and found that the pain adjustment can only be selected from 30% minus 50%. No way, let's do this again. Huli felt bad when he saw the pain adjustment, and now the bad feeling has finally come true. In his opinion, this game is probably not a peaceful game. I hope there is a better way to die in this game. Don't cut your neck off again. With that said, Huli chose 30% pain perception, and 30% minus 50% pain perception can be regarded as the standard configuration of the Rising game. It won't hurt too much, and it won't make you feel nothing. After the pain is selected, the cold mechanical voice reappears. Please establish your name. Songshan Little Fox, Hu Li chose to enter his Mo Station username. However, after inputting, there was a notification that the establishment failed. The creation of the name failed. For a better game experience, please choose a format that conforms to the normal name format. The use of numbers, special symbols, and names that do not meet the specifications is prohibited. The cold system prompt came again. I want a normal name for the sake of the game experience. Do you want to achieve this level? It's getting more and more interesting. Then I'll type it in, Hu Li. Because it seems that this game is not an online game, Hu Li chose to enter his real name, just like the prompt said, for a better gaming experience. Your username has been established successfully. I hope you can start a real journey to another world. The notification sound of the system seemed to be softer, and with a bang, the picture in front of Hu Li's eyes shattered, turning into stars and flying away. The game officially started, and Hu Li's consciousness seemed to be pulled into a certain place. The next moment, Hu Li found himself in a two-dimensional convenience store. Finally entered the game, but this is a convenience store, right? What about the other world? Hu Li looked around, and it looked like a normal convenience store, and there was nothing special about it. He himself was standing next to a shelf of comic books, and he seemed to have just finished reading the comics, and what seemed to be bought instant noodles and potato chips in his hand. My name is Hu Li. I am a third-year public high school student who refuses to go to school. I didn't have dinner tonight. Now I need to buy some instant noodles to go back to eat. Potato chips can be used as an after-dinner snack. Now that I have bought everything, I will go home now. Bar. Suddenly, a male voice confessed to Hu Li's ear, and that should be the setting of his own character. It's actually a time-traveling game. The last time I wore Conan, this time I wore a high school student. I like to eat instant noodles at night. It's very engaging. Unfortunately, I'm not a high school student anymore. Hu Li shook his head, and then changed his mind. From the glass of the convenience store sees the outside. It was already night, and there were not many people outside at night, but Hu Li happened to notice that a man and a woman, two couples who looked like high school students, walked by the convenience store, and they were intimate. Do you want me to eat dog food in this time-traveling game? The malice of the world really is everywhere. I can break the dimensional wall. Author, Zhou Jumiao. Chapter 328. Holding the clinker bag in his hand, Hu Li didn't know what to do now. He couldn't find the task window at all. Another feature of Rising Games has appeared, that is freedom, the almost terrifying degree of freedom of the game, which makes people even feel that this is not like a game, but a real world. In this way, there are many things that can be done in the game, but it is also troublesome to find the main line. Hu Li checked in the convenience store for a long time, but he didn't find any key items, and no key person came to him. The clerks of the convenience store also started to pay attention to him. The thing to do now is, go home. Hu Li thought of his confession just now. Following this train of thought, he left the convenience store. But where is home? Looking at the wide road and the deserted streets, the corners of Hu Li's mouth twitched. Where is this taking me? He wanted to complain a long time ago, this game is too free. He doesn't even give an arrow, at least give an NPC with an exclamation mark or a question mark on his head. What if he gets lost? Tuko returned to Tuko. The game still has to continue playing. The time-traveling experience is very real. Without memory, my eyes are almost blackened after time traveling, and I can't even find my home. With no clues to be found, Hu Li felt that he had no choice but to bite the bullet and go for a stroll. However, where is the different world mentioned in the title of the game? After walking a few steps out of the convenience store, Hu Li found a ripple in the surrounding space, which came and went quickly, as if it was an illusion, but he soon knew that it was not an illusion. Your own game character speaks. Staying at home and playing games all day, are your eyes broken? Hu rubbed his eyes subconsciously, and in the blink of an eye, the surrounding scenery changed completely. The night turned into day, the convenience store disappeared, and what appeared in front of us was a different world's central street. The surrounding noises and the beast-ear mothers coming and going all proved all this. I've timed it, so that's how it is. I first timed it as a high school student, and then timed it to a different world. It's a very useful way to fix the character in this way. After all, Hu is a game player, so he was not surprised when he came to another world suddenly. What's the situation? No matter how you look at it here, it doesn't look fake, that is to say, in short, this is the legendary summoning from another world. Hu couldn't help laughing when he heard the shouts of the characters he set up. He suddenly found that he liked the characters he timed through because they were very similar to him. Playing games at home all day is very similar to myself. An ordinary otaku character. Life in a different world from scratch, I understand, it's an otaku traveling through a different world, haha, it's really difficult for an otaku to survive in a different world. Hu started his alien life with his plastic bag in hand. World Tour. As before, these NPCs who came and went had nothing on their heads, and Hu was just wandering here. Because of his curiosity about the different world, he was not too bored. He was also lucky to come to the place where the plot took place, in a small alley. I have no clue at all. It's so difficult to start from scratch. Could it be that I want to find a job in another world? Hu was thinking about how to play the game, but soon, he met the plot characters in the animation, 3 gangsters who robbed, and when Hu was about to cross the alley, the 3 gangsters blocked his way. What are you going to do? Seeing that an NPC wanted to interact with him, Hu immediately became excited. The biggest fear of playing games is that there is no plot, and there is a plot when someone interacts. You don't seem to understand your position yet. Forget it, hand over the valuables to save your flesh and blood. The leader of the gangsters stretched out his hand to Hu. So that's it? I triggered the robbery plot. I didn't expect it to be such a low-level plot. Hu sighed and looked at the 3 gangsters in front of him. I have no money, what are you going to do? What kind of plot, what low level, do you look down on us? Since you have no money, then beat him up. The leader of the gangsters saw that Hu was surrounded by himself and others. He didn't mean to be afraid at all, and wanted to give him a lesson. Huli's eyelids twitched when he saw the 3 people who surrounded him. I'm going to do it, it's too real. Step aside. A little girl with yellow hair suddenly rushed over from the other side of the alley. An important plot is coming. Hu shouted excitedly. After seeing the little girl who broke in suddenly, he instinctively told him that this person is a very important NPC. The yellow-haired fella stopped and glanced at Hu who was forced to the wall by the gangsters. What important plot? I don't know what's going on, but I'm busy right now, please stay strong and live on, Felt said after a few jumps and disappeared into the alley. Hu? Call me. Seeing that fella disappeared, the 3 gangsters continued to prepare to attack. Facing the 3 people who were forcing them up, Hu made a Tai Chi starting gesture, which he learned from the master of Tai Chi who started a class in the virtual game. Don't force me, don't think that I am an ordinary weak person, look at my Taijikwan, receive, transform, send. Beat. Boom. 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 3 hooligans confronted an otaku, and the result was obvious. Hu was completely pushed to the ground and beaten. Huli's kneeling face was trampled by the hooligans from above, and his forehead hit the ground, bleeding profusely. Then a kick was kicked in the face, and then a series of violence was inflicted on the body that was desperately shrinking. Those gangsters had no intention of showing mercy at all, and they attacked at their vital points. It hurts. Even 30% of the pain level is enough for one person to suffer, and the other party has no intention of stopping, saying ugly words while beating. Traveling to a strange different world, and then no plot was triggered, and finally being beaten on the ground by gangsters, the traversal content of this game, is too bad, Lee thought in his heart. He suddenly felt that traveling to another world was not as beautiful as he had imagined, perhaps because this world was too real, and his thoughts became stronger and stronger. Suddenly, a female voice sounded. "That's it, villain." That voice overwhelmed everyone's hustle and bustle, the man's vulgar yelling, and Lee's wailing, and shocked the world. Lee moved his gaze to the direction where the voice came from, and there was a young girl standing at the entrance of the alley. A beautiful girl. Her waist-length silver hair was braided, and her intellectual blue-purple eyes were staring at her. The soft facial features are both gorgeous and immature, making people inexplicably feel a dangerous charm born of nobility. The white-based clothing has no gorgeous decorations, and the simple shape even more foils its presence. But even that costume is just an accessory to add to the brilliance of the girl. "I can't stand your arrogance anymore, please stop here." Yinling's voice rang pleasantly on the eardrums, and Lee stared blankly at the girl in front of him, even forgetting the fact that he was beaten. So beautiful. Lee was completely attracted by that elf-like girl. Another world, it's awesome. I can break the dimensional wall. Author, Zhou. Chapter 329. Although the pain sensation was reduced to 30%, it seemed that the head was hit hard, so the body had an impact. After the beautiful girl came, Lee fell into a coma. It's just that he vaguely sensed that the beautiful silver-haired girl repelled the gangsters, and seemed to be talking to someone. "What should we do?" "We still have urgent matters," said an unfamiliar voice. "It has nothing to do with us, anyway, his life is not in danger, we don't care about him," said the voice of the pretty girl. "Really? Real?" As if to emphasize her firmness, the beautiful girl shouted. "I will never, never help him." So cute. This was Lee's last thought. The feeling of waking up from deep sleep is similar to the feeling of sticking your face out of the water. Lee found that he was knocked out in the game. Obviously, his body didn't hurt that much. Would a hit on the head cause dizziness? Opening his eyes, Lee felt the warmth of the sun. "Ah, are you awake?" A beautiful female voice came from directly above, that is, from above his face. He wanted to turn his face to the source of the sound, but found that although his body was lying on the ground, his head was resting on something soft. Is it a knee pillow? This game actually has this kind of benefit. You can't move yet. Because your head was hit, you can't rest assured. The voice that cared about his physical condition was very gentle. It was the first time for Lee to hear such a gentle female voice. Hearing this voice at close range, Lee felt his pores relax and stretch out. That voice was completely different from that of girls in reality, even the nurses in the hospital would not be so gentle. Lee seemed to remember what happened before he fainted. He played this game by himself, but was pushed to the ground by 3 gangsters and beat him, and then, a cute girl who looked like an elf saved him. Is the plot of the beauty saving the hero unfolding? As embarrassing as it sounds, being rescued by a beautiful girl hero when you are helpless is surprisingly comforting. Who is not a baby anymore? Ah, it hurts so much. Lee pretended to have just woken up, carefully enjoying the benefits of the knee pillow, and using circular movements to give his cheeks the supreme touch of happiness. Huh, so soft, the beautiful girl's legs are more hairy than mine, huh. Lee raised his body suddenly, looked to his side, and then, he saw a big scary cat. What a big cat? Lee exclaimed in surprise. It turned out that what he had been enjoying just now was actually a cat's knee pillow. He was suddenly a little disappointed when he learned the truth. Really, I plan to let you enjoy it more, Parker said to Lee, rubbing his head. After waking up, Lee set his eyes on the silver-haired girl who saved him. Isn't this person the female character in the cutscene? With such an obvious appearance, Hu Li immediately recognized her. Thinking of this, Hu Li heaved a sigh of relief, and finally found some clues to this game. For him, it took almost an hour to meet an important character in the game. It was really not easy. Subconsciously, Hu Li prepared to save a file. Well, Hu Li remembered that this game has no missions and interface pop-up windows, and there is no save file or anything. Well, thank you. If it wasn't for you, I think it would have been even worse. You are really a good person. Hu Li has played many kinds of games. Swipe the favorability of the girl in front of you. Grateful, the silver-haired girl blushed slightly. Don't get me wrong, we stayed here because we wanted to ask you something. If it wasn't for this, we would have left you long ago, she nodded in confirmation. That's it, don't mistake. Ask me something? Hu Li knew that the plot was coming. Sure enough, the silver-haired girl asked Hu Li about the lost badge and the escaped thief. It seemed that the girl had something stolen by the thief. Ding. Trigger the main line and look for the lost badge. Hu Li made up a system notification sound in his own brain. Do you know what? The silver-haired girl looked at Hu Li, who was in a daze, and asked. Hu Li shook his head. I just saw the thief, but I don't know who she is. That's it, then there's nothing I can do. However, because you told me information that you don't know anything about, it cancelled out the kindness of treating your injury. We left in a hurry. Your injuries should have mostly healed, and because I have threatened those people severely, I don't think they will come to trouble you again, but it is very dangerous to enter this kind of empty alley by yourself. Speaking of this, the silver-haired girl paused, as if she was afraid that Hu Li would misunderstand. I'm not worried about you, but a warning. Even if you encounter the same situation next time, it won't do me any good to save you, so don't expect me to lend a helping hand. The silver-haired girl chattered endlessly like a cannonball, as if to emphasize that she didn't care too much about Hu Li. But such deliberate emphasis has no effect, and Hu Li still feels the goodwill of the other party. Hu Li felt his heart was touched by something. This girl obviously lost her things, but she spent so long taking care of herself, and her arrogant behavior really has a kind of extreme cuteness. This is the first time he has seen this kind of girl, and sure enough, this kind of girl is only available in the second dimension. If after traveling to another world, the girls here are still the same as those cold and arrogant girls in reality, then Hu Li really wants to die. Seeing that the silver-haired girl was about to leave, Hu Li quickly chased after her. Wait a moment. The silver-haired girl stood at the intersection and looked at Hu Li with some doubts. What? Is there a problem with your health? Let me declare first, I can only accompany you for a while. Well. Hu Li looked into the silver-haired girl's eyes, and when he met the other's gaze, Hu Li's face turned red all of a sudden. Meeting the other's gaze, Hu Li felt his heart beat a little faster. Hell, am I really playing a game? Hu Li took a deep breath. Naturally, he would not let go of the plot in front of him. If he let go of this plot, where would he go to find it next time? Aren't you looking for someone now? I can help too. Help. The silver-haired girl tilted her head and looked at Hu Li. I want to state in advance that I can't thank you. As you can see, I'm penniless. I don't want a reward, I want to help you, Hu Li stammered. This kind of experience of saying I want to help you to a beautiful girl is definitely something that all gal games cannot experience. Even when he said this, Hu Li felt that his emotions were completely mobilized, and he was even afraid. The other party rejects himself because he will only make trouble. Hu Li probably wouldn't even have the courage to strike up a conversation with such a beautiful girl as the other party in reality. Why help me? The silver-haired girl was a little puzzled. Do you need any reason to help others? Hu Li gritted his teeth, imitating the tone of some hero animation protagonists. The silver-haired girl listened to what Hu Li said, and smiled softly. When she smiled, it was as if all the flowers in the garden were in full bloom. "You're a weird guy, but seriously, you're getting paid nothing." Thump. Seeing the silver-haired girl's smile, Hu Li felt his heart stop for a moment. This special feeling was really an inexplicable experience. Am I in love? Hu Li found that he was fascinated by the girl in front of him. "It's okay, even if I try my best, I will help you find the batch. Give me more importance in my own life," the silver-haired girl shouted. Finally, the silver-haired girl agreed to Hu Li's help. Amelia was originally a gentle person. Even if Hu Li didn't help and would only add to the chaos, she would not refuse. After that, Hu Li and the silver-haired girl started looking for someone. Streets, alleys, taverns, shops, they were looking for the little girl with yellow hair in the capital. Naturally, such a purposeless search for people would definitely not yield any results, and even if it was an ordinary search for people, it would definitely be a relatively boring task. But as long as he can be with the girl next to him, Hu Li doesn't feel bored at all, and even feels a sense of happiness. Hu Li has confirmed that he has fallen in love with each other. When was the last time I went out on a date with a girl alone? Apart from shopping with my mother, there was only elementary school. I went home with the female classmate who dropped by. This sad thing suddenly came to Hu Li's mind. Hu Li used to have a dream, that is to find a girlfriend who likes the second dimension, and the girlfriend likes cosplay, cosplays at home all day for himself, and then can take it out. Hu Li sighed, and then secretly glanced at the silver-haired girl beside him. Being able to date such a beautiful girl, he felt that he no longer needed anything. If it was the real world, he would naturally not have any ideas, but since this is a game world with a high degree of freedom, then there is a possibility of a successful strategy. Thinking of this, Hu Li is full of energy, and even more energetic in finding someone. "What are you looking at?" The silver-haired girl noticed Hu Li's gaze and asked in confusion. "It's nothing," Hu Li immediately looked in other directions with no interest. The gameplay, playability, plot, details, content, etc. of this game are meaningless to Hu Li as long as there is the silver-haired girl around. This game will be full marks for Hu Li. Hu Li was addicted to it. Even after playing for a long time, he had no thought of quitting the game. So, is this game a different world love game from scratch? In the beginning, when I adjusted the pain perception, I thought it was some cruel game, but I didn't expect it to be so warm. This game is really good. After that, when finding someone was not going well, the two went to a taller building in the capital, chatted with the wind blowing, and took a break by the way. During this time, the two also exchanged names. The atmosphere of being alone like this is more like a date. Hu Li also knew the silver-haired girl's name, Shatila, a very nice name from another world. Standing at the angle of deliberately looking down on the capital, Hu Li chatted with Shatila about himself and told stories about his hometown. In order to learn how to chat with girls, he found a lot of skills and jokes on the internet, and he used them now. Although Hu Li is not very good at chatting, and sometimes the content of the chatting even feels embarrassing to himself, but Shatila listened with gusto, and even looked at Hu Li with a very powerful gaze. Facing such gazes, coupled with the other party's exquisite and perfect appearance and gentle personality, Hu Li couldn't hold on at all. His heart roared. How can there be such a girl in the world? Of course, Shatila also told some of her own situation, but when Shatila talked about herself, her tone was very low, as if she was hiding an unfortunate past. After Shatila said that she was a half-elf, she found that Hu Li did not show disgust, but praised her instead. Shatila seemed a little surprised, and seemed to be moved by Hu Li. Hu Li also noticed this detail. It seems that there is something wrong with the identity of a half-elf, Hu Li thought to himself, but for a game player like him, No matter what the meaning of a half-elf is, he will always like Shatila. After resting for a while, Huli and Shatila continued to look for the thief who stole the batch. However, on the way, a green-haired child looked around with tears in his eyes, and was noticed by Shatila. Huli, look, is that child lost? After Huli took a look, he found that there were indeed no adults around the child, but to him, it was just an insignificant NPC. It looks like this, but Shatila, aren't you still in a hurry? It's important to find the badge, but it's also important to help the lost child. Shatila looked at Huli firmly. That child is crying, isn't it? If you don't help me, then I will go by myself. Then help him. Huli sighed helplessly, and looked at Shatila in front of him. As expected, she was indeed the girl he liked. Not only was she beautiful, she was also so gentle and kind. Huli liked her more and more, although Shatila had already reached full value in Huli's heart. Afterwards, the two helped the lost child find his family. Unexpectedly, the child turned out to be a clue. Through the child's father, Huli and Shatila found a clue about the badge. The badge was stolen by a habitual thief named Felt. Look, it's helpful to help others, and it helped us in the end, Shatila said to Huli proudly after getting the clue. Her face relaxed a lot. Yes, yes, Huli responded. Knowing the clues, Shatila and Huli, who had a target, rushed towards the slums. Of course, they were still chatting and joking along the way. Huli, who was originally not good at chatting, became more chatty because of Shatila's confidence, and the road was often boring. It was getting dark. Huli also felt that his mission was about to end, and he didn't know what would happen if he found the badge. In the end, the two came to Lord Roma's stolen house, and Huli and Shatila looked at each other. Go in, the thief who stole your things should be here. Huli opened the door first and walked in. Anyone there? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I can break the dimensional wall. Author, Zhou. Chapter 330. When Huli was about to enter, the silver-haired girl named Shatila stopped him hesitantly. Is it really okay to go in like this? In case there is danger. There is no such thing as a street lamp in another world, so in the dark night, it needs to be illuminated by moonlight. The moon is dark and the wind is high to kill people. Such an idea suddenly popped up in Huli's mind. He hesitated for a moment, but quickly shook his head. It was just a game, so what if he died, and he would be a good man after resurrection? Shatila, don't be afraid. If you are in danger for a while, just use me as a human shield. Shatila frowned, put her hands on her hips angrily. I wouldn't do that. Ah, Shatila is so gentle. It's also nice to look angry. Huli has been completely poisoned by Shatila. Just kidding. After Huli finished speaking, he opened the door and walked in. To his surprise, the light was not turned on in the room, and it was completely dark. It's so dark, are you sleeping? Is anyone here? Huli yelled again, and then, with the help of the moonlight falling from the skylight, he seemed to see something, blood and a corpse, the corpse of a big old man. This is... Oh, I was seen, so I can't help it, I can't help it. A woman's voice came from the dark room, a low, indifferent but pleasant female voice. Pooh. Huli didn't have time to turn his head. He was about to turn his face to the source of the sound when his body seemed to be hit by something and he fell directly to the ground. There are enemies. Huli subconsciously wanted to stand up and face the enemy, but found that he couldn't move at all. Moreover, he seemed to feel something hot on his body, so he touched it. Is blood. Large patches of blood appeared on his abdomen. It may be because the opponent's knife was too fast. Huli didn't even feel the pain at the first time, but slowly, the pain came up. pain, cutting the abdomen seems to be more painful than cutting the throat. Enemy, Shatila, be careful. Hu Li wanted to remind, but it was too late. Pooh. At that moment, Hu Li seemed that the world in his eyes slowed down. He watched Shatila's body fall down little by little, and fell in front of him. Blood, a large piece of blood appeared under the silver-haired girl, staining her white clothes red, and even some splashed blood flowed down the floor. This sudden and shocking scene appeared in front of his eyes, and Hu Li felt his body tremble. Just kidding. Hu Li somehow forgot that this is a game. He desperately stretched out his hand, and firmly held Shatila's snow-white hand lying beside him. Hu Li's bloody hand and Shatila's hand held each other tightly. Shatila's slightly moving fingers seemed to want to shake his hand back, but soon, the slightly moving fingers stopped. Ah! The girl I liked died in front of my own eyes. Hu Li thought about today's date with Shatila, her gentle tone, appearance, eyes, everything about her, and now she has turned into a corpse. Why? The next moment, the world turned into darkness. Hu Li opened his eyes and found himself in front of a familiar fruit stand, but he still looked dull at this moment. Why did it become daytime? Did it enter the system's automatic archive? Hu Li looked at the sun in the sky. This time point should be the time before he and Shatila met. Brother, do you want an apple? The Irish-looking green-haired uncle at the fruit stand asked Hu Li. But Hu Li didn't answer at all, but gestured in the air. What about the archive option? Why is there no archive for this game? Why only exit? What are you doing? What kind of broken game? There is no manual archive function. Why, Shatila is dead. Why such an important character will die, the conscience of the person who made this game? Does he still have a heart? Hu Li suddenly had an urge to go to Rising headquarters and hack the designer who designed the plot to death. The girl he liked died in front of him. This scene was really shocking to him. Up to now, he still seems to be able to feel the slight movement of Shatila's fingers in his hand. The game characters are not real. Hu Li doesn't care anymore, he only knows that he likes Shatila. It's not the kind of liking that changes wives every quarter, it's the kind of girl who really fell in love with that gentle girl, who can go shopping with me on dates, and who can heal herself when she is injured. It was because of liking that Hu Li was afraid, and his body was trembling. He was afraid, there was no file, Shatila forgot everything that happened today, and all his hard work today was in vain. It was obviously a date that Hu Li could remember for a lifetime, but it disappeared because there was no archive. If this is the case, then this game is too cruel. Taking a deep breath, Hu Li temporarily stabilized his emotions. Rather than hesitate here, or come back again, let her know me again, I will never be defeated because of such a small thing, I will always like Shatila, this time, I will never let Shatila, no matter how injured you are, the same tragedy will never happen again. After adjusting his emotions, Hu Li began to look for Shatila in the capital. He knew that at this point in time, Shatila would be looking for Felud who stole the money. But before he could look for it, a silver-haired girl in a white robe just passed by. The girl's blue-purple eyes glanced at Hu Li, but her disinterested eyes immediately moved away, symbolizing the strength of amethyst. The eyes are just staring straight at the path they should walk. The moment the two looked at each other, Hu Li still had a feeling of suffocation. She really didn't know me anymore. Wait a minute, wait for me. Shatila. Hu Li finally reacted, passed through the surrounding crowd, and ran behind Shatila. Hu Li knew that he was a little impulsive, but it didn't matter. As long as he used the information on the location of the badge, he could definitely fight Shatila again. Good relationship. For a moment, the girl who responded to the voice looked at Hu Li, her gaze was as cold as if she was looking at a stranger. Looking at the cold eyes, Hu Li's heart cooled down. The girl's eyes were full of hostility, which was another side that Hu Li had never seen before. The girl's voice was stern and angry. I don't know who you are, but why do you call me the Witch of Envy? The symbol of the taboo, the Witch of Envy, will be feared just by saying it, but you chose that name to call me. What is your purpose? Wait a minute, jealousy, which, what is it? Huli murmured at a loss. When he felt Shatila's hostility, his heart felt as if a knife had been cut through. Heart hurts. Exit the game. After many blows, Huli couldn't bear it in his heart, and finally chose to quit the game. What is this? The name given to me is also fake. Boom. Huli directly smashed the virtual helmet to the ground. Not only that, he also felt that there seemed to be something wet on his face, and at some point, tears had covered his face. I actually cried. Starting from scratch, this game is no longer a warm and healing game for Huli. Compared with some sadistic games, this game is more sadistic, because the sense of substitution is too strong, so the damage suffered is also the most direct. Compared with the inexplicable death, Shatila's hostile eyes hit Huli harder. The beginning of this game will give you a beautiful love, let you meet the most gentle and kind girl, or the heart-pounding plot of a beautiful woman saving a hero. Then, you and the beautiful girl start the most beautiful and dreamy date, a date in a different world across the world. She is gentle and kind, allowing you to enjoy all the beauty and have the best day. Then, at night, it will tear it all away, let your best things die in front of you, even if you can be resurrected, but she will forget everything. All the good things disappeared in an instant. Not only that, the beauty in your memory may not be true, the girl who dated you gave you a fake name. This kind of routine is actually not surprising. Huli has seen similar animation plots before. At the beginning, he described the most beautiful daily life, and at the end there will be a tear-jerking plot, making the audience cry with the rhythm of the animation. Heartbreaking, this is a normal routine. But this game is different from scratch. Huli has never been so excited about the characters in a game. It hurts. Huli touched his chest. Obviously he had come out of the game, but his chest was still hurting. It is the heart that hurts, the pain because Shatila has forgotten everything, the pain because of Shatila's hostile eyes, and the pain because her first love is gone. This game is too cruel. Hurry up and eat. When eating at noon, Huli's mother looked at her son, not knowing what happened. She felt that there was something wrong with her son's eyes. The eyes are dull, and the eyes are a little dull, as if they are broken. What's wrong with you? Something's wrong with you today, Huli's mother asked worriedly. Huli moved a mouthful of food stiffly. My heart was taken away by Shatila, and there will be no joy or sorrow in this life. Huli's mother snapped. Huli's mother slapped her son on the head with such force that it was scary, and almost slapped Huli's face into the bowl. I told you to watch less cartoons, your middle school illness is getting serious again. The game hit Huli really hard, causing him to not recover for several days. In the past few days, he has been thinking from time to time, what is the jealous witch, who is the person who killed himself and Shatila at that time, and since Shatila is a pseudonym, what is her real name and why? To tell yourself a pseudonym. There are too many mysteries, and there are many secrets hidden in this game from scratch, all of which need to be discovered by people. It's a pity that Huli's helmet was smashed by him, and now it has been sent to be repaired, but it has not been repaired yet, which made him unable to see Shatila even if he wanted to. Sioruo also received the game experience from Hulifa at his home. He described the content of the game and his own experience in great detail, but he only played a little. Tell Sioruo. Just like what Sioruo thought, the average otaku couldn't resist a beautiful elf girl from another world, and she was a girl like Emilia who was almost flawless. However, the game experience behind the ReZero game is really not very good. There is no hint, and it is all up to you to play. In addition, this game is basically a sadistic game. It is difficult to pass the level. The audience of animation can't empathize with it at all. But now it has become a game, allowing the player to be the protagonist. At this time, it is no longer Subaru Natsuki who experiences the sense of despair, but the player. Lee was also lucky, his helmet was broken. You can let him relax for a few days to stabilize his mood, otherwise, he will continue to play, and when he can't find a way to clear the level, he will watch Emilia die again and again, and he can't do anything. In that case, it is true despair. Death again and again, rescue again and again, failure again and again, infinite reincarnation. Thinking of this, Syaruo really felt that this game was too cruel. It's so cruel, serious face. Players are a group of people with strong psychological qualities. No matter what game it is, how difficult it is, how cruel it is, they can actually support it. Next, is the game promotion and official release. Before the release of the game Life in Another World from Zero, the barrage of the promotional video exploded. In the promotional animation, a silver-haired elf and a male high school student passed each other, and there was a very gentle BGM. There is no fighting scene, it is a very gentle style of painting. The barrage is frantically swiping. It looks good, a virtual game with a different world theme, looking forward to it, bye. I heard that Little Fox was invited by Rise to try this game. After playing, the helmet was smashed. It was said by Up who went to his house to play. No way, is the game so difficult? They smashed their helmets. The Little Fox doesn't look like such a violent person. This game doesn't look like torture. The BGM is pretty good. I don't know, but Up, who knew Little Fox, said that after playing this game, Little Fox looked like he was playing badly. It is said that he lost 10 caddies. I was there, and I saw it with my own eyes. When the Little Fox was eating, his eyes were dull, the corner of his mouth was drooling, and he kept shouting "Yeah, I'm Hareze," and I was there, and what they said is true. I'm scared as you said, is it really so scary? I heard that there are beautiful girls from another world, bye. I can break the dimensional wall. Author, Zhou Jumiao. Chapter 331. The game Life in Another World from Zero was officially released after a week of publicity. The tags are adventure, fantasy, harem, priced at 288 yuan, including the first 2 chapters. The Intestine Hunter chapter and the Roswell Mansion chapter. Because Syaruo only unlocked these 2 chapters, but in Syaruo's view, with the game difficulty of Re-Zero, without the protagonist's aura, they might not be able to pass these 2 chapters for a few weeks. Because it is too difficult. Before the game was released, Syaruo played it several times by herself, dated Emilia 2 or 3 times, and even played the Roswell Mansion chapter. After Syaruo finished playing it himself, he really felt the difficulty of this game. If Syaruo hadn't read the original work, he even felt that he might get stuck in the second stage. The key to clear the first level is the juggernaut Reinhardt. If you don't seek his help, you can't resist the intestine hunters. Of course, it may not be difficult for players to find Reinhardt, but if you want to successfully enter Roswell's mansion, Amelia's favorability must reach a certain level. Survive under Elsa the Intestine Hunter and increase Amelia's favorability. Only by completing these 2 points can you successfully reach the second stage. In Syaruo's opinion, the first stage is a bit difficult, but if you read the file a few more times, you will be lucky, and if you die dozens of times, you will always be able to pass the level. But the second level is the difficulty of hell in Syaruo's view. Compared with Elsa the Intestine Hunter, Rem in the second level is the real hell for the players. Syaruo seems to have thought of the wailing and misery of the players. After Life in Another World from Zero was officially released, it was sold out immediately. There are relatively few virtual games now, and players who bought helmets don't have many games to play, so they have been looking forward to the latest virtual games, so when the publicity time is not long, players with helmets can basically know that there are a new game released. Especially the big word harem on the label directly increased the enthusiasm of the players. When they heard that the plot of the harem could be opened, many viewers who didn't like to play games and usually liked to watch animations would use this game bought it. There is no way, this is a harem, or is a harem opened in a different world. Who can stand this? After buying the game, the player naturally returns home to turn on the virtual helmet and play the game happily. So in the tens of minutes after the game was released, Syaruo found that there was not much response on the internet. At most, some players who supported the game were posting messages. There were not many people discussing the game. Most of the discussions were about the harem. It looked like everyone was off to play the game. After all, the duration of this game is a bit long, and it is estimated that it will take a day to discuss more. Of course, there are still some prostitutes who don't want to spend money, or viewers who don't have time to play games and plan to watch the game live broadcast. Some game anchors will play live broadcasts after a new game is released. It's like playing it yourself. However, the live broadcast of a virtual game is definitely a different experience from playing it yourself. Many viewers who watched the live broadcast before would buy the game with great heartache, play it in person, and experience the joy of a virtual game. Syaruo also clicked on the live broadcast page of Mengzhan. He wanted to see if there were any anchors live broadcasting ReZero. Just as Syaruo thought, when he went in, he found that the titles of many live broadcast rooms were live broadcasting ReZero. Syaruo chose the most popular live broadcast room and clicked in. He is fine now, so he just wanted to see how the anchor was tortured by this game. Yuhua, the game anchor who used to broadcast Conan games in the past, naturally turned on the live broadcast immediately after buying the game. Now he is also a big anchor with millions of followers, and the popularity of the broadcast has reached the first place in the live broadcast area. Under the expectation of many viewers who had no money to buy games or helmets, he put on the helmet and opened the game ReZero. To be honest, he was also looking forward to this game. There are too few virtual games, and it is cool to play. Grandfathers of the audience, don't worry, with my game technology, if there is no strategy now, you will definitely clear the level within a day, you just need to time it. After watching my live broadcast, if you buy the game, you will definitely be able to clear the level all at once. Don't talk about it, just watch the anchor's operation and it's over. Yuhua is a technical anchor. He has made some difficult customs clearance videos before, so he speaks with confidence. Although virtual games are different from normal clearance games, live broadcasts must be compared. If you can't do it, you have to do it. In Yuhua's live broadcast room, the barrage scrolled rapidly, and the audience seemed to be twice as many as usual. Sit and wait for the anchor to be deflated. We are waiting, don't be beaten and lose your memory. No, this is not a difficult masterpiece, but a harem love game. Is the anchor rich in love experience? Can it work? That's right, this is a love game in another world. Whoever came to see your speedrun, what we want to see is the details, the details. We are here to see girls, we don't need technical anchors crawl. It seems that many viewers have questioned Yuhua's love experience, and soon, there are more barrages of doubts. That's right, is the anchor okay? This is a harem game. If you can't accept all of them, you can unsubscribe. If you don't accept all, unsubscribe, add 1. If you don't accept all, unsubscribe, add 2. Come on, anchor, don't be afraid, we are all here, we won't fall in love then, just watch the barrage, we will teach you. The barrage is a master of love per capita. Syaruo was in the live broadcast room at this time, watching the barrage in the live broadcast room. He also wiped his sweat. No way, the word harem was added to the label, and some people really regarded this game as a love game. Didn't they see adventure and fantasy? Syoruo thought about it. Did he leave out the two labels of horror and novelty? Forget it, after playing the game, you will know whether this game is a love game. Syoruo is very impressed with the audience's reaction. But looking at the barrage, Syoruo also thought of a problem, that is, how many times will it take to die to collect all in ReZero? No one can really do it. Yuhua's eyelids twitched when he saw the bullet screen posted by the audience. It was only because of the word harem that the bullet screen started to revel. Although Yuhua also liked the harem game and had expectations for the harem game, he had an intuition that it was this game. It's not a love game as the barrage thinks. He knew Songshan Little Fox, and the relationship between the two was pretty good, so he sent him a message after knowing that Little Fox had tried it out. Of course, he didn't ask about the content of the game, but just asked about the experience of the game. At that time, he remembered that the Little Fox's answer was, "It's hard to say. I always feel that there are many layers of meaning in it." Yuhua stopped thinking about the Little Fox, and began to speak to the audience. Although he had already entered the login interface of the virtual helmet, it was still possible to talk to the audience and watch the barrage. Grandfathers of the audience, don't worry, there is no game that can stump me. Since everyone likes to watch the harem, then everyone will count it. Count how many harems there are until the end. Watch and study hard. After passing this village the store is gone. Yuhua still boasted to the audience in a serious manner. 66,666. Take it all. Do you know what it is to take it all? The beast ear girl from another world must have it. Elf, I want an elf. Where are the slime girls and the hyena girls? Don't forget about them, it's best to go to the custom shop to have a look. While chatting with the barrage, Yuhua entered the game interface. After choosing a name, he traveled to another world. Like Hu Li, he wandered to the alley and was blocked by 3 gangsters, but he was better than Hu Li in that he had some skills and was better at maneuvering. He won 1 fight 3 fights. But the result was that he was worse than Hu Li. He was stabbed by a gangster and almost died. The moment he was stabbed, the barrage was full of taunts and spectators. It seemed that he hadn't expected that the anchor had just traveled to another world, and nothing happened, and he was stabbed to death by the gangster. Fortunately, before he died, a silver-haired elf girl appeared, rescued him with magic under the gangster's hand, and healed his wound. Such a gentle and beautiful girl appeared in front of Yuhua and the audience. After a few seconds of pause, the barrage exploded again. The beauty saves the hero. This kind of plot is really good, I'm so excited. The voice is really nice. Oslo, I also want such a gentle girl to heal my wounds. I will buy games when I go back. What a beautiful beauty, is she an elf? It's definitely an elf. The anchor quickly accept her. Bold and monstrous, don't hurry up and show your original shape, mommy, coax. I can tell at a glance that you are not human. Dai Tianlong, I want you to help me practice. The barrage is very good, but Yuhua can't answer now. In the communication with Emilia, Yuhua was worse than Hu Li when he saw the beautiful and gentle girl. He still appeared as a hero to save the beauty. He would blush when he talked to Emilia. However, he was live broadcasting, and at the request of the audience, he gritted his teeth and stuck to Emilia, and then used the method of teasing Emilia pointed out on the barrage to tease Emilia. What was posted on the bullet screen, Yuhua just read it according to the bullet screen without thinking, except for some exaggerated, anyway, this is the game world, so there is nothing to be afraid of. Yuhua's doing this is surprisingly effective for the program. Obviously, the audience didn't buy the game, but he did it like this, as if the bullet screen audience is also communicating with the silver-haired girl. After all, it is a holographic first-person perspective, and the sense of substitution is better than watching animation. Be strong. The bullet screens posted by the audience were normal, just some embarrassing words that I dare not say in reality, and then I sent them out with bullet screens, and Yuhua read them out. However, Emilia didn't hate him, and said with a smile that he was very interesting. She had never seen such a strange person like him, such a gentle and approachable beauty, and instantly conquered the audience. In an instant, the barrage exploded. Especially after knowing Emilia's pseudonym Shatila, almost all the barrage on the screen is. I've always liked Shatila. Mama, I'm in love. Oslo. Sioruo found it very interesting looking at the barrage, and wondered if Rem would be treated like this in the future. After that, it was Yuhua and Emilia who went shopping to find someone. Anyway, as long as they found Emilia and got mixed up with her, it was the same routine. They dated for several hours, but neither the audience nor Yuhua felt bored, and more people watched the live broadcast, and more people were poisoned by Emilia. It would be nice to be able to keep dating like this. It's great. I can date such a beautiful girl in the virtual world. I don't have to talk about anything. Buying games is not a prostitution. The anchor must accept Shatila, not Guan. It's enough to have Shatila, I don't want any other women, I must have Shatila. After a few hours of dating, the barrage has already fully invested in Shatila stocks. In their view, only Shatila is enough in this world, and the rest of the women are not needed. When the plot reached Lord Roma's stolen goods hut, tragic scenes also appeared. Pooh. Pooh. Both Yuhua and Shatila were killed, and Shatila fell beside Yuhua. Before they died, the two held hands. Under the moonlight, the bodies of the two were placed together. It was obvious that the atmosphere was gentle just now, but the girl I loved suddenly died like this. Barrage. The scene that appeared shocked every audience watching the live broadcast. At this time, their young hearts seemed to be hit by a heavy hammer, as if they never thought that such a thing would happen. Hum. Hum. After a few seconds, the screen full of shit appeared. Of course, there were some other barrages in the middle. Some people felt sorry for Shatila, and many were spraying the game. Yuhua also read the file and came to the fruit stand, and saw the uncle selling apples. What's this? Yuhua didn't seem to realize it either. He had a good relationship with the beautiful woman just now, why was he suddenly killed, and the beautiful woman died too? But before he died, he seemed to hear a woman's voice. Here again, my God, didn't you save the file just now? What about Shatila? Whoa, Shatila is dead, my youth is over. It's too cruel. My heart seems to be cut open. Is this a game of heart abuse? What about the promised love harem? I seem to hear a woman's voice in that hut just now. The anchor is going to kill that bad woman. Kill her in advance to protect Shatila. Yes, kill the bad woman. Kill the bad woman add 1. Yuhua glanced at the bullet screen, and he almost figured out the situation just now. After explaining to the bullet screen, he went to a weapon shop, and exchanged his mobile phone for a long knife. This time, he planned to go to the place where he died first to find some clues, otherwise, if he looks for Shatila now, he probably still cannot escape the solution of death. Soon, Yuhua arrived at Lord Luomu's stolen goods house. It was still dark at this time, and Elsa arrived not long after he was here. The moment Elsa pushed the door, the barrage exploded again. Ah, I can do this, sister, I'm done. I've always liked bad girls. The anchor accepted her, but not Guan. I hate bad girls, but she's just too big.